a trip to Insanity Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next Insanity Island podcast. October 16th, we're one day closer to Halloween.
We're 1 day closer to the midterm elections in November.
Yeah, but it's not like that's just going to flip everything immediately. It's going to be a slow burn.
Okay, slow burn. All right, let's talk about some of the big headlines of last week, shall we? Shall we, Penda?
Let's start with the fact that Georgia is back at number 1.
Oh, Georgia back at number 1. Alabama got beat. Alabama got beat. We'll cover that in our sports segment.
Makes me feel warm inside when that happens.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. First thing to talk about, Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker's in the news because he had a debate with Senator Raphael Warnock. Okay.
Reverend or pastor.
That's right. Reverend pastor. And apparently there was some fireworks in that debate.
Yeah, did Herschel go over there and slam his head into the podium? That would be freaking awesome.
Not quite that bad, but he did slam him verbally. He did slam him verbally.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So give us a recap of that debate there, Chris, and who do you think won?
Well, I didn't watch it.
well,
I did see, but I did see what I do with these things. I like the highlights.
There were some highlights. The highlights, I watched the last 30 minutes.
My favorite highlight was the one with the baby, about the baby.
Well, yes. One of the highlights was they asked Raphael Warnock about the recent Supreme Court ruling on Roe versus Wade and how they have sent that back to the states to decide if abortion should be legal or not. And Raphael Warnock dodged the question. Said that should just be between the doctor and in no way, shape, or form should anyone else be involved. And then Herschel Walker came out and said, "Yeah, but you're forgetting one thing: the life of the innocent baby."
That's right. And like I said, by the way, women out there who claim it's my body, my choice, that's the baby's DNA code. So you're murdering a completely different person. You're murdering a person that is a mix between you, the guy, and its own self, and has its own DNA because of that. But
what if she was raped? What then?
I agree. Certainly incest and all. Yeah, that sounds like you would. But then at the same time, you're like, well, God, that wasn't that baby's fault, But then again, you don't want to that's tough.
Here's my thing about the whole, incest rape argument. How many pregnancies actually occur because of rape?
You know what question I want to know is how many times do they actually have to abort the baby because of the health of the mother? I'll bet like never.
In this day and time, with all the modern, medical technologies, C-sections and so forth, it's just such a rare thing. But yes, childbirth used to be a life risk event for a woman, not anymore. But this whole thing about it's just another smoke screen, what if the woman's raped? What if the woman is a victim of some kind of incestual, relationship? Those pregnancies are what, 1%, 2%? What about the 98% of the time they're just using it as a form of birth control?
Right. The thing is, the state should all the Supreme Court said was the states can decide.
That's right. That's exactly
all they did.
So regardless of what you think was fair, what's right about it, it's going to be up to each individual state now, unless, of course, the Democrats pack the Supreme Court, which so many Democrats are calling for that packing of the Supreme Court. That is adding additional justices more than the number 9. They want
all they're doing at that point is they're trying to nullify the court so it doesn't exist anymore.
Pretty much. And
but you know what would happen if they needed it? They'd reduce it.
Exactly.
They'll come back 10 years later and
reduce it.
And you know what they would do? They would blame the fact that the court was expanded on the Republicans.
Probably.
And the media would let him do it.
More specifically, they blame Trump.
For the fact that the courts are bigger, yeah. He did all that.
Well, if Trump wouldn't have done this and done that, we wouldn't have had to expand the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
That's what
It's always their fault.
That's what they say. So yeah, expanding the Supreme Court is one of their big agenda items. But Herschel.
But you know what? It's too late to do it now. I mean, the election's in a couple of weeks. What is it? 3-4 weeks?
They can still do it if they get absolute power. If they retain the White House, they get the Senate, they get the House. They can figure out a way to nominate another justice and just put them on the Supreme Court. I mean,
that's not going to happen. They're not going to keep.
But it could happen. It could happen if it gets.
No. Hold on. Beyond that, if they held everything, the country's done. There is no America anymore. By the time they got done, we'd be outnumbered by illegals. They'd own the country. The country would be done. We'd be poor. We'd be like a third-rate. We'd probably be invaded at that point.
We're certainly opening ourselves up for invasion.
Have you noticed that every single thing that he's done has been to hurt us? Have you ever noticed that?
You're talking about Joe Biden here.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed? Every single thing has hurt the United States. Everything.
I don't see what he's done to help us.
Hey, he got us out of Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah, that was the most terrible military exit, probably in our life.
In history. No. There's never been a time where you had a major superpower that didn't have to leave like that if it didn't want to. Leaving truckloads of money and $1 billion worth of equipment that they can use as terror. Nobody's ever even back in the old days with Egypt. When they would do that and they'd leave, they didn't leave all their crap there. They didn't leave packets of gold for them. I mean, my God, he should. That's like Biden just goes over there and writes them a check for $1 trillion. Here you go.
You know, I think a lot of people forget when they elect a president that they also are voting for a commander in chief. Okay. And in many ways, you know, being the commander in chief of our armed military has more responsibility than trying to direct the domestic agenda.
Yeah, their job is to protect us. So when you pull them out first, that's like like I said before, there's a bank robbery going on, and before it's done, you pull the cops.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing?
The hostages.
Yeah, we had a SWAT team there, but we pulled them out because, we couldn't be here forever. Well, yeah, but you get the people out that need to get out. That's your purpose. That was the purpose of the military, was to protect those people that we left, then who are still there.
Unbelievable. I mean,
it's worse.
And I can't.
Why did he do it? I really do want to know. Why did he do that?
I don't know. It is the biggest head scratcher of foreign policy I think I've ever seen. But have you noticed though that there's not as much outrage over that as there should be?
There was at the time, because his numbers went from like 60 to 30. I mean, it dropped big, but the next day there was another freaking crisis, and then another crisis, and then another one. You just can't mentally. You only have so much of a reservoir to absorb all this stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot Afghanistan. It's like, oh, yeah. The wokeness, the teachers union crap, the economy plunging, Afghanistan, everything. What has he done to try it? Has he done one thing?
Everything. I think you got to say that Joe Biden makes Jimmy Carter look like George Washington. I mean, he's almost that far. He's almost that bad. Well, let me ask you this question.
Jimmy Carter was terrible too.
He was awful. But let me ask you this: who do you think was a worse president? Not only
Joe Biden,
from a foreign policy standpoint, but an economy standpoint, a domestic policy standpoint. Was Joe Biden worse or Jimmy Carter worse?
Joe Biden has been the worst governmental leader in the history of Earth.
That bad.
I've never seen anybody in charge of a major country like ours a major, like an empire, huge freaking, it'd be that bad. He's not there. He's not really the president.
How about Joe Biden trying to take some credit for his son serving in the military when it turns out he never did? Wasn't there a story like that last week?
No. His son was in the military. He served in Iraq. But he didn't die there. He died back over here of cancer years later.
That's what it was. He said that he died serving in the military. Is that what he said?
Yes. Remember in the 13, the bombing of the 13 in Afghanistan?
Okay.
And remember the bodies were coming back? Of course, he had to be there. And the families were there. They hated him. They said they couldn't. They said this in public. All he did was, he didn't mention their people. He just talked about himself and the fact that his son was a serviceman and he died too. So he gets their pay. No, he died of cancer.
That's pretty bad.
Please quit selling us out to China with your drug-ridden son.
That's pretty
So
bad.
we see it on video. We got video of him.
Yeah. And then we have this investigation going on in Georgia about election fraud.
That surfaced during a Georgia State Senate hearing on possible election fraud is now raising some serious questions tonight. The video was presented by President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and his team. Now, it is surveillance footage. You're looking at it right now. Ballots are being counted after the presidential election. The place, Atlanta, Georgia. It shows at about 10:40 election night, the observers were told to leave, that the ballot counting had stopped for the night. But once everybody had left, except for the ballot counters, watch what happens in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
They're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped-off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots.
Now, the Georgia Secretary of State maintains that there was no widespread fraud in the state's November 3rd election.
It's pretty darn clear that the Democrats were involved in the election fraud in Georgia. And they're spinning it. They're turning it around to make it look like Donald Trump and his cronies were involved in election fraud.
Then why didn't he win Georgia?
Donald Trump lost Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the reason why Donald Trump lost Georgia is because it's pretty obvious. The Democrats stuffed the ballot boxes. They stuffed the drop boxes. There is indisputable video of, they called them mules, and there's a movie about it called 2000 Mules.
Yeah. What's his name? The Indian guy. What's his name? Did it? The Indian guy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. That guy's cool. I like him.
No, he's great. But there is actual video of these paid operatives stuffing drop boxes with all Biden votes. Okay. Now, how come no one's been made accountable of that? Yet these so-called officials, okay, are going after Republicans for election fraud when the Republicans lost.
No,
the Republicans lost. And they're going after. There's a story right here in CNN, this program CNN. A pro-Trump operative was caught on tape participating in a Georgia voting system breach after the 2020 election, has testified before a special grand jury. Okay, so they're pulling these people out and making them go testify.
Did you notice what they said? Breach. What does that mean? He was standing on the wrong line or something?
So, I mean, yeah. At this point, they're making stuff
up. They didn't say voter fraud. They said breach.
Yeah, breach. Whatever a breach is. This guy's name is Scott Hall, and he's a Fulton County Republican poll watcher. He's also a Georgia bail bondsman.
I doubt he was cheating.
Captured on surveillance video the same day the breach happened and acknowledged he gained access to a voting machine. Testified as a witness for over 3 hours. Okay, so these people are, I mean,
you know what he was probably doing?
After Republicans.
They're after Republicans. I'll bet he was doing research to see if he could prove they were cheating.
Exactly. That's exactly what he was doing. He was doing some research to see if they were proved that these voting machines could be manipulated. Yeah, that's what he was doing.
And prove that they can be.
And now they're accusing him of a breach, and he could be indicted and all this kind of stuff. David Schaefer, who is the Georgia Republican Party chairman, okay, he is now being threatened with indictment.
For what?
When Schaefer was basically just doing the same thing. Schaefer is just basically questioning the results of the election. Like, how is it that we have at 2:00 in the morning, they all stopped counting votes, and they came back 2 hours later, and then all of a sudden Biden won. Trump was leading to that point.
All 4 states.
Leading. And then
4 states.
2 hours, they find a bunch of votes for Biden, and then Biden wins the following morning.
What are the mathematical odds?
Zero.
It was
0%.
4 states that stopped at the same time.
All at the same time. So just for
And when they all came back, Biden was winning all 4.
Yep. So just for questioning that, you are under the point of a sword and being threatened just for questioning them. So it's getting serious now. It's getting serious. They want to indict. They want to put in prison. Let me tell you something. If they put Donald Trump in, let me ask you this, Chris. What is the probability? What is the probability that through either the raid on Mar-a-Lago or this phony investigation in Georgia, that they're going to get away with doing a full-fledged indictment of Donald Trump and dragging him into court? What's the probability of that?
I don't think they think they can do that. I think they're muddying the waters is what they're doing. They're threatening people. They went after Trump. All they have to do is scare people, and you get other people to get in line. That's what they're trying to do. And they want to make sure that he's too muddied to run.
Well,
they don't have anything on him, dude. He had those documents for 2 years. He could have done anything he wanted to them. Trust me, he's not an idiot. He's already been through anything they can touch him legally with. Because when he was the president, anything he can declassify things by thinking about it.
Yeah, but Chris, I think you are underestimating the true hatred they have for this man.
I'm talking about the legalities of them being able to do it.
Yeah, but I think they hate him so bad that they can pay off a judge and a jury and
can't pay off the Supreme Court.
No, you can't. I don't think they can pay off the Supreme Court.
And I think that's where it would go. I think we'd go straight to that.
They could. The Supreme Court would probably take that case. Yes,
they'd have to.
That's
what they're for.
But to say that we're only imagining things and these are false threats and nothing's going to happen, that's not really true. Look what they did to Roger Stone.
No. You don't understand. All the other people, they'll throw them in jail. They'll destroy their lives. They're doing that. They know they can't go too far with the former president, even if it is Trump. They can arrest him. They can make him look like a buffoon. They can look what we're doing to Trump. But they have to have actual massive evidence. And you think he's just going to have that stuff sitting around in a box they come get? Plus, they ruined their reps for me to believe that they were really even looking for anything. When they went through his kid's room and destroyed toys, and they went through his wife's room and messed up her clothes. It's like, what are you doing? You knew exactly where you needed to go to the thing, get the box, blah, blah, blah. And you ended up fucking up the whole house on purpose. I don't believe anything you people say.
What would the reaction be if Trump sent the FBI into the Obama's house and Michelle Obama's clothes got all damaged and wrinkled? What do you think the reaction would be then? Okay, so that's the investigation. Now let's talk about the Biden oil deal. So Joe Biden.
You mean the lack of?
The lack of. The attempt. Joe Biden gets on hand and knee and begs the Saudis to increase supply. And then the audience go, yeah, okay, let's think about that. No, I think we're going to cut supply.
Hey, when he did that, did he have the ice cream in his hand? When he was begging, please, mister, can I have some more?
Yep. I mean, just.
Oh, the dude was an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment.
They tried to put they tried to impeach Trump for something similar, right?
Yeah, the exact same thing. The Ukraine deal.
Oh yeah, the so conversation.
That was this whole Saudi thing. He cut production here in the United States to save the world, and yet he wants other people around the world to make more oil to get. What are you doing?
Yeah,
He's still buying the oil.
He'll say one thing. He thinks the United States should restrict its access to drilling permits, right? Is the lowest number of lease renewals and drilling permits of any U.S. Modern U.S. president. Yet he goes overseas and begs them to increase their supply. I mean, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, but he knows his voters are too dumb to know that he did that.
His voters are so dumb, so dumb. Okay, so the January 6th committee. Okay,
that's my favorite. You know what? That's my favorite TV show.
The January 6th committee.
Great writing.
Oh
yeah, if it really happened.
Such fiction, right? Such fiction. So it's come out that Trump on January 6th requested additional security and was turned down.
Yeah, we knew that back then. That report got out.
But now there's evidence that
he did do that.
Nancy Pelosi actually turned it down.
And I think the mayor had something to do with this too, didn't she?
I think you're right.
He refused all. Nope, we're not going to do we're not going to do anything. We're not going to help you at all.
I
think they wanted it to happen.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So MSNBC are they would you call them a news organization? What would you call them? MSNBC?
No. I'd call them a racist, radical, revolutionary propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. That's all they are.
That's so true.
They're not news at all. They don't do news.
I mean, you just go and CNN.
Their commentators have actually called for violence on people like me and you.
So, who's worse, MSNBC or CNN?
Oh, MSNBC now. CNN is at least trying. With that new guy, they cleaned house a lot, and they're trying to be at least a little more even. But they're still going to be left wing. They can't help it. But MSNBC. They've actually called for Joy Reid called for violence. Who's that other one? The other one just like her?
The one on The View?
No. She has her own show on MSNBC.
Oh yeah, Rachel, whatever.
No, that's Rachel Maddow. I'm talking about the other black woman that looks just like her. You know who I'm talking about?
No, I'm not. No, I'd have to reach.
Dang it. She's just a horrible human being. But they have these guests on all the time that call for violence. They actually call for it. Here's a headline. Here's a headline from MSNBC. Herschel Walker and Trump-loving black men are scammers. I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, they're labeling any black man that wants to be associated with Trump or support Trump or be conservative is a scammer, right? Why does that make you a scammer? What's so scammy about having independent thought and wanting to make your own choices? Those people tend to believe that all black people need to be members of the party of slavery and the Klan. Get off the plantation. And the Jim Crow laws. And the people that voted against the Civil Rights Amendment. You're saying they want them dependent? Yes, because they give them checks, they give them free stuff, and so they expect them to stay on that plantation and shut their mouths. Yeah. Joy Reid. Yeah. It's okay for you to have your stuff and your millions. Yeah, exactly. I mean, anybody else works for it or has a slightly different opinion. They can get rich, and a conservative black man can't. So sports. UGA number one. UGA number one. How about Alabama getting beat by Tennessee? Well, it gives me a warm feeling inside. I was real happy about that. Yeah, and, they laid up more points in Alabama.
in the past 107 years.
Whoa.
Is that not crazy? 52 points.
I'll tell you what, 107 years, really?
Yeah. That's the truth.
That makes
Right.
Bama probably the greatest team of all time. The fact that they went 107 years without somebody doing that to them.
Yeah, that's true.
And they still almost won that game.
Alabama still almost won that game.
I couldn't believe I had turned it off thinking, oh, that's over. Came back and they were ahead. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, what did happen?
Well, it was an instant classic. What happened was
Oh, that's
right
right.
at
It
the
was
end of the game-
42-49. Then
Well, right at the end of the game, Tennessee fumbles and Alabama picks it up and runs in for a touchdown to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. So you're thinking, okay, this game's over. Alabama's going to be Alabama, do what they always do.
I know, I just assumed they would.
And then Tennessee came right back again and scored another touchdown. And then it was tied up. And then Alabama got the ball back and they were going to kick a field goal to win the game. The guy misses.
That's right. I saw that.
He missed. And then Tennessee got the ball back with like literally 30 seconds, went down the field, completed a great pass with like 2 seconds left.
That's right. Then they kicked a 40-yard field goal.
A 40-yard field goal to win the game as time expired. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was 52-49, I think. And not Tua. He's the other Alabama quarterback. Bryson Young had an incredible game, the quarterback for Alabama. He threw for 445 yards, and they still lost. So,
wow.
I mean, it was a great performance by both quarterbacks, by both teams. I mean, it was an unbelievable game, instant classic, and doesn't really hurt Alabama much at all because all they have to do is win out. They still go to the SEC championship game. If they win the SEC championship game, they go to the playoffs. They get to the playoffs. They can still win the national title. Alabama can still win the national title and the SEC. So it didn't really hurt Alabama.
Who else do they have to play?
Auburn, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss could beat them.
Ole Miss could beat them.
Auburn.
So that was just a great game. Okay, now we're under the arts and culture.
And the Braves are going.
Yeah, the Braves are gone. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, that sucked.
That sucked. They had a good season, but oh well. Arts and culture. Did we talk about Kanye West last week? I think we did.
A little bit. Did you hear what the banks did to him?
They fired him, right?
Chase Bank won't do business with him anymore.
Wow. Because the White Lives Matter thing or something else?
He said something about Jews or something.
Oh, yeah.
Now banks are going to be involved in what you say.
That's scary.
It is scary. Remember what PayPal tried about a week ago?
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about PayPal. What's the story there?
Oh, they're evil. They're evil, dude.
What did they do?
They're so horrible that I remember the Kyle Rittenhouse thing?
Yes.
PayPal suspended anybody trying to send him money or anything like that for his defense.
Really?
What the hell? And Twitter and Facebook were, if you defended him, they would cut you off and all that. Of course, it turned out the guy was completely in his rights to kill those child molesters that he killed. But PayPal is now
what did they do?
They sent out a trial balloon. And it said that basically, if we don't agree with what you say or do, we're going to fine you $2,500. We're going to take money out of your account.
That is terrible.
Okay.
So why would anybody use PayPal now?
A lot of people don't. Their stock plummeted 20%. 20%. Dude.
That was so stupid.
That's a company. They pulled it and said, "Oh no, we're not doing that." Well, why'd you put that out? That's obvious trial balloon. That's where you're going. And you've done similar stuff. You've already done. Get this. You know that guy that how the comic books today are they're awful.
Who is today? Who?
The comic books today, the comic book industry.
Yeah, I haven't bought one in so long. Are they even?
Everybody's gay. Everybody's transgender. It's all woke.
Oh God!
They destroyed they race change all the year. Nobody buys the comic books anymore except for Todd, maybe. Nobody buys them. And so people on the right were starting to come up with their own stuff. And this black guy named Young Ripa, or whatever, that's his YouTube thing, he came up with his own comic book, sold $3 million worth in a week.
Whoa.
He's a huge success. It's an unwoke comic book. It proved you can still sell books if you do it right.
What's that comic book called?
Oh, God, I can't remember. The guy's name is Young Ripa. Young Ripa. And then R-I-P-P-I-A. He's a libertarian guy, but he hates Democrats, hates wokeness, real pro-American, black guy.
Cool.
And I mean, immediately it was like 3 million, over 3 million. But get this, PayPal's holding 1 million of his right now. He's suing to get it. You know why they're holding it?
Why?
Because they claim that he has interactions and stuff with racist people.
And he's black.
He's black. But you know how these left-wing groups will just say a group is racist?
Yes.
Well, that's what PayPal's done. So if he goes on a podcast like Geeks and Gamers, well, PayPal, they're racist, and you went on their podcast. We're gonna hold your money.
They're holding $1 million of his money?
Over 1 million, yeah. I don't see how he can't be sued.
How did PayPal get a hold of $1 million of his dollars to begin with?
Because he was using PayPal to sell the books.
Oh.
He's not anymore.
That's illegal, isn't it?
I would think.
That's unbelievable. Okay, ladies.
So don't use PayPal. Don't use PayPal. They might look
don't
at
use PayPal.
They might look at a tweet. They might look at this podcast and take half of your money.
Man, I think I have stock in that company. I need to sell that
You need
stock.
to sell it, dude.
Okay, Fox News poll. This just came out. Majority of Americans say U.S. is heading for socialism, and they don't like it.
What? Who said that?
Fox. There's a Fox News poll.
Dude, we're headed for
54% think U.S. is heading towards socialism. 60% say that's a bad thing.
What's sad is 40% don't think it.
I know.
It used to be like 70 or 80 to 20. So they've made grounds. Yeah, we're probably headed.
Oh, yeah. Socialism is definitely making grounds, particularly among the younger set.
Well, it always was. The problem now is that it even has gotten into dumbass adults. Like these stupid freaking middle-aged teachers with purple hair. I want to tell my children what my genitals are like. God, pedophile much? Jeez.
Yeah. The adult socialists have. It is concerning how many grown adults.
The only thing that'll save us is school choice. If most of the people can just get out of the schools, it'll destroy the teachers union. They won't have any power anymore, and it'll start to go down. Then it'll be people just being normal.
Yes, agreed.
That will save us. That's the only school choice is the only thing that can save us. That's
that and Young Ripa.
Young Ripa. Actually, he is a really good. You need to go look at that.
I'm going to look him up.
He's been on all the guys. He's a YouTuber that's been real popular and made good money, and so he just put his money and did a comic book, and it was huge. And he's huge now.
Young Ripa, R-I-P-P-I-A.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look them up. All right, any other items of discussion, Pendo? Arts and culture?
No, just if people want to give to my charity zoo that I have here, my address is blah 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 blah. And
double like
is good.
Double like.
I'm running a freaking zoo here, so
subscribe.
Yes, subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Hit the bell because that sends notifications. Ding something that dings, and remember to talk about the podcast and send it out and tell everybody how cool we are. Eventually, we'll have merch.
So you're not an exotic Joe, but you're exotic Pendo. You know that show Tiger King?
I never did watch it. I heard all about it.
It was very
I heard all
interesting.
about it. Yes,
I
I'm
think
like
we got
that.
it. I think we
I'm
got
like
it.
that.
All right, man.
I mean,
Well,
hell,
until-
look at this. There's one right there.
what is that?
Nala. Come here, baby. Come here, Nala.
Oh, your animal.
Come here, baby girl.
Oh,
Come
your
here,
zoo. Well, that's
Hey,
quite an
baby
animal.
girl. Is that not a huge monster?
That's a big animal.
Oh, hell yeah.
A gentle giant.
I've got her, a chihuahua, and 2 cats.
That is a zoo.
And a fish.
And a fish. Okay, well,
I've got
Charleston
an- I've got
County-
an-
the
I have an
Pendo
aquatic
Zoo.
division.
An aquatic division. Do your animals swim?
Every now and then, yes.
Oh, excellent. All right. All right. Well, until next time, double like and subscribe and send Pendo money for his zoo.
That's right. Just send it to Doug and,
Another exciting episode of Insanity Island.
Don't worry, people. We'll get better.
We're getting better. It's getting better all the time.